We are back with the second segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this second segment, we are going to be talking about basketball buzz, so some of the news that's going around in, not necessarily the NBA, but in the basketball world. So it's a little bit of sad news. So like this first one is going to be a little bit of sad news, so I might as well warn you guys before listening. But Nate Robinson, a fan favorite and a dunk contest winner, and a former Knick. Let's go Knicks. He recently admitted that he doesn't have long to live due to kidney failure, and if he doesn't get that fixed soon, then eventually his time is just going to be up. So that's something that's like a little bit. That was the buzz that was going on in the basketball world yesterday. It was really difficult because it's like he knows that there's a high chance that he's not going to make it out, and he just told everyone that on a podcast. It was very, very tough to hear that, considering how much of a fan favorite he is, and it's like you wouldn't really expect someone like him to come out and say that. Like, he desperately needs a kidney in order to survive, and it's like so far he just hasn't gotten it yet, or it's like I don't know exactly what the buzz around that is, but still it's that his quote is, I know that I don't have long if I can't get a kidney, and I know I'm not going to have long to live, so I just want to make the best of it as much as I can. So prayers up for him and his situation, and hopefully he finds the kidney. And I don't know why he hasn't gotten any donors or any competent donors for a kidney transplant. But regardless, it's really tough. He has been using a dialysis machine, which sometimes can lead to painful vomiting that leaves him hospitalized for a day or two. And despite the side effects, he is thankful for the treatment. Some people's body reject dialysis, and thank God that mine accepts it and I can live. That was the quote that Robinson told the Daily Mail. If I didn't go to dialysis, I wouldn't live probably longer than a week or two. So it's serious. Can't miss a day. I go in for 4 hours, 3 days a week, 4 hours a day, and they clean my blood to get my toxins out, and they help me out a lot because that's how I'm living. So again, it's really tough to dissect, I guess you could say, especially like being a fan of his and like all that he's done for the NBA. I mean, being a 5'9" guard and winning the dunk contest is something that's very, very difficult to do. And seeing him in this state that he's in, not getting any help and not getting any kidney donors, it's really tough because it's like, wow, it's a really cruel world. One day you're at the top, and then the other day, like, bam, you have no idea like what life could do to you and what life could throw at you. So that's the situation around Nate Robinson. Again, I didn't want to make it an entire segment because I just felt like that's just ridiculous to make it an entire segment of me just talking about someone's not being well. So we'll move on to the next story in the basketball world, and that is Ben McLemore, who is now facing, who now just recently got arrested and is facing several different rape charges and sexual abuse charges as well. So the charges are first-degree R-word. I don't want to repeat that word because I don't know how sensitive a lot of people are. An A-level felony with a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. First-degree unlawful sexual penetration, an A-level felony with a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison, and 2 counts of second-degree sexual abuse, C-level felonies, each with a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. So if he's found guilty, it would seem that his entire career is basically over. Now, a lot of people, they would really think like, how do I say this? So a lot of people would think that some of these accusations and these rape accusations on these athletes are made up. Some people think it's made up. Like, a lot of people, when Deshaun Watson was facing 24 sexual assault allegations, some people thought that it was that the women that were involved lied about the encounter. And that same like stipulation, it's sort of, and not only that, but there was also an NFL kicker on the Bulls that I forgot his name, but he was actually accused of sexual assault or the R word. I don't remember exactly what it was. And it was later found out that he wasn't even in the house when that happened. So is this one of those situations? I don't think so. Because Ben McLemore has already been out of the league. And usually these people would make these accusations to ruin the athlete's life while he's still in the league, because they're still making money from the league and they're making a lot of money and they want that money. And like at least that's sort of the perception around these fake accusations. And so because he's already out of the league, I do not think that these allegations are made up. So he might be cooked for the rest of his career. Like this might be it, because it's like you either are found guilty or you're not found guilty. And even when you're not found guilty, like there's still people who are going to think that yes, you are guilty. It's just the way the justice system works that changes people's opinions. But I'm not going to get in too deep into that just because like there are a lot of like legal problems like if I do say things of that nature. But regardless, it's like, you know, these accusations are out there and there's definitely going to be a trial. We'll see what the results are, but for now I'm not going to say that he definitely did it because it wasn't proven. However, the cards are incredibly stacked against him. That I will say. The cards are stacked against him right now. But that doesn't mean that he's, again, innocent until proven guilty. So that doesn't mean that he 100% did it. So that's all I'm going to talk about with that. Now, we're going to move on to Jonte Porter, who, if you remember in the previous segment, he was under investigation for a gambling issue where there were certain tickets that were placed, that a lot of people placed on his under, and he ended up not playing a lot of minutes in that game. So he was under investigation, and now the NBA is thinking of banning him from the entire league for good. And I find it really, really odd how gambling is a capital punishment. Like Adam Silver said himself, it is a capital sin. And I'm just pulling up the quote right now just to make sure that I have like all the information that I need. But regardless, it's like he could face a permanent ban. And I really don't understand why the ban is permanent. Like, I understand why he needs to get suspended, but I don't get why it's going to be a permanent suspension, because, like, and why it's considered a cardinal sin. Because, again, like, the league has allowed several NBA players to play in the league despite being, like, literal criminals. Like, despite the fact that they are criminals and they do certain things, or they've done certain things that aren't seen as good in the public eye and, like, the public perception, they still allow them to make money in the league, and they still allow them to be a part in the league. The NFL does the same thing as well. It's more common in the NFL than it is in the NBA, however. But regardless, it's like I find it very odd how he would call this a capital punishment, but wouldn't call other things a capital punishment, like the issue with surrounding Josh Giddey and how sketchy that situation is. I'm not going to get into that situation just because it's like it's a really difficult topic to talk about without getting into big trouble. But regardless, it's like cardinal sin. Is it really that deep? Like I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that deep. But Silver said, I have an enormous range of discipline available to me, but it's a cardinal sin what he's accused of in the NBA, and the ultimate extreme option I have is to ban him from the game. That's the level of authority I have here, because there's nothing more serious, I think, around this league when it comes to gambling, betting on our games, and that is a direct player involvement. And so the investigation is ongoing, but the consequences could be very severe. So, and another thing that I also find odd is how a lot of these sports and a lot of these leagues, they advertise these gambling sites, yet they don't allow their players to be a part of the gambling. And obviously, like, I understand why. It's because of, like, you can't have players bet on their own games and just throw the games. That would just affect the entirety of the season and everything, and all sorts of things and things of that nature. And there's a lot of problems that come with it. However, it's like, why advertise them if you are strongly against your own players using it? That's just my 2 cents. But with that, that's all the basketball buzz that's going around in the basketball world. So now we're going to go into the third segment where I talk about all the NBA games that went down last night, as well as some of the big stories that went down off of these games as well. So I will be right back after this short break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.